I'm here with Richard Reed, the co-founder of Innocent Drinks, which was way back in 1999, I believe. One of the fastest growing, or is it the fastest growing food and drink company in the UK?
Well, our mission is about trying to help the world become a little bit healthier. So we make smoothies and our new products, veg pots. It's all about making it easy for people to get fruit and veg into their diet. And yeah, we absolutely want to get to as many people and places as possible.
Okay, I think what people are interested in is the fact that it really is started off like a cottage garden industry. There you were, in your kitchen or wherever you were, garden shed, making up your smoothies, and now you're this huge multinational company, and you've got guys out there thinking, well, yeah, I've got a great idea. Where do I start?
Well, we started from our kitchen in our house in Barron's Court, and we made our first smoothies there, and then we started selling them from a market stall, and from that we got the confidence to give up our jobs and start doing the smoothie business full time. And yeah, it's just, we've been incredibly lucky and we've worked incredibly hard, and I think you need those two things in business, quite frankly. We sold our first smoothies to our local sandwich shop, and then we went out in our van and got them into more sandwich shops and delicatessens around West London where we lived, and we've just grown it from there. There was never any tipping point. It's just been each day trying to make the business a little bit bigger tomorrow than it has been today.
But there must have been that crunch point, as you say, where you made that decision to pack in your day job. I mean, that's quite a big decision to make.
It is a big decision to make. It's also the easiest bit of setting up a business, which we didn't realise. There's the whole pressure on, should we give up our jobs to make the business or not? And you think, well, I've done it, I've given up my job. You think, actually that's the really, really easy bit. The really difficult bit then is going about full-time setting up this business. I mean, we thought it was going to take us 4 weeks. It took us 11 months. We completely financially broke ourselves. We were living on the dole, eating breakfast cereal 3 times a day, hugely each in debt by the time we finally got to the start line of selling our very first smoothies through someone else's shop. I have to say it was the hardest, bleakest sort of period of my life, but I'm really, really glad that we did it.
Also, obviously you did that, you went out, you went to your local shops to show your product to people. Was it not much of a chicken and egg situation as far as, how do I market this business? I've only got a few products. How do I market it? How much money do I spend on marketing? How do I go about that? How did you make those sorts of decisions?
No, you're absolutely right. Chicken and egg is exactly what it was. We had this situation where we wanted a chilled wholesaler to take on Innocent Smoothies, so they would distribute them for us to our local shops. When we went to speak to them, to the chilled wholesaler, they said, well, we can't take your products until you've already got shops selling it, because what would we do with it? So then we went to the shops and said, well, would you like to buy these? And they said, yes, but we only buy from our chilled wholesaler. So you're in this sort of position where the chilled wholesaler won't do it till the shops have got it, the shops won't do it till the chilled wholesaler's got it. We actually cracked that little riddle we went out over one weekend and we went into 50 stores and said, we're your new local neighbourhood juice company. Here's a present. We'll give you 3 cases of smoothies for free. Put them on the shelves. If they sell after the weekend, give us a ring. If they don't, then you and your staff can have them. No one says no to that. After that first weekend, 45 out of the 50 rang back and put in an order. We rang up the chilled wholesaler and go, here's your first 45 customers. They were like, right. And then we got going.
Did you not then go into a mild state of panic as far as production was concerned? How did you go about that? Obviously, as a small business, your turnover, it wasn't particularly high. You're managing to cope with everything, and then all of a sudden, you're building this interest, and you've got more and more orders coming in. Where do you make that decision, obviously, as far as cash and investment is concerned, of how much you put back into the business and how much you spend there?
Well, I guess it's a high-quality problem if you've got more sales demand than you can make, for sure. Our situation was the opposite. We had found a manufacturing partner to work with, which was great news. They would only work with us if we did a minimum of 400 cases of smoothie a day. And on our first day, we sold 3, so we had 897 left. On the second day, we sold 0, so we had another 800. So within 2 days, we've already got 800 cases of smoothies that only last 8 days before they go off. And so our problem was we had far too much supply and not enough demand, which is why we went out and put them out for free to begin with. But for the beginning of our business, we had something ridiculous like 95% wastage. But then you've always got to work out where's the upside, how do you turn that negative into the positive? So we didn't let a single bottle go to waste. We used that for sampling, going to events, pulling upside railway stations, just giving them out for free to try and get the brand established.
So you're in an ideal situation now because the production's going, you've got the interest, and so we come down to the marketing and the brand awareness. I mean, it's quite a fantastic brand, isn't it, Innocent now? You've done really well as far as that's concerned. Was that an awful lot of your influence, or did you bring somebody in from outside? You've got to design, you've got your logo, which is very, that's key for a business, getting that absolutely right. And then going on, creating that brand awareness, the marketing, and also the thing is, what comes through that is your business culture. It comes across as, really quite fun and quirky. I'm sure here today at Olympia you've had lots of people coming up to you saying, oh wow, I'd really like to come and work for you guys. So what were the thought processes behind your branding?
Have a simple idea that you're trying to communicate. So for us, ultimately, what was going to make our products better than other people's was that they were going to be more natural. They were going to be unadulterated. So we needed a brand which reflected that. And actually, we started with the name. We said, well, we need a name that communicates that they're natural and that they're pure and they're unadulterated. And actually, if you look at those words in the dictionary, you'll see that the word innocent appears like a load of them. And you think, well, innocent, that's great. It means pure, it means untouched, it means guilt-free. It's everything that we are as a product. Then we needed a visual identity. Well, that came from, again, the word innocent. A little face with a halo, have really simple packaging, show the contents because there's nothing to hide, because it's all natural stuff. And so actually, whilst it wasn't easy, it was easier once we'd worked out what was the single clear point of difference between us and our competition. Understanding that is the really tough bit, but then it's really helpful once you've got that, because then you use every bit of marketing, be it from the name to the packaging to the sides of your vans to what you put on the bottom of your compliment slips. Use every possible opportunity to communicate what that main thing is that makes your product different.
But also you do a lot of consumer engagement as well, don't you? I mean, you're out there with people, you're doing a lot of outdoor things, you really do get yourself out and about, and I think that's what makes people feel that they are part of the brand.
Well, we're totally shameless in that we'll talk to anyone that's got a microphone or, anyone that's got a camera, because it's free publicity. And, for the first 5 years, we didn't have a penny to spend on advertising. So, yeah, you have got to get yourself out there. I really do believe in the sort of the karma of business, that the more you put out, the more that you get back. It helps if you're speaking to journalists. But we always did really cute things, work out who are the most important people to sample and get to them first. And actually, we recognise journalists are the most important people to sample because A, they are our target audience, and B, they're journalists. So we would turn up at headquarters of magazines and newspapers and go and walk around giving out free smoothies and putting them on people's desks, purely because we wanted them to hear about the brand. I can't prove that everything that we did worked, but collectively overall, this idea of being really proactive and trying to get noticed, and most importantly, when you do, the actual reality of the product being good, is kind of how Innocent's become successful.
As far as I'm aware, or I think it's right, is it 800,000 smoothies a week at the moment?
Yeah, and that's not bad, because it's 2 million a week. 2 million a week, which for me is pretty good, because I remember our first 24 bottles being sold on day one. I remember day two selling 0. So we're absolutely delighted. We're so grateful because we've had such fantastic response in the UK. And I said, I think it came down to, essentially three things. You have got to have a good idea in the first place. Secondly, you've got to have just a sheer bloody mindedness and persistence, and just the simple fact of never giving in. And thirdly, you got to get lucky.
Okay, so what next for Innocent?
We're just deeply in love with the idea of making natural, healthy food that's ethically made, and there's so many different food categories we can go into with that ethos. There's so many new countries we can go to take that ideal of we're going to be this food company that you can absolutely trust that will only ever make things that are good for you. There's lots of people and places we want to take that to.
And just a final word for any of those entrepreneurs that are out there. You've got this fabulous idea and they're sitting there, well, perhaps I haven't got enough money, or I can't do this, or I can't do that. Any words of advice for them?
Well, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. So it sounds like a really trite thing to say, but the only common link between anyone who's been successful, be it in arts or business or politics or sports, is that A, they started, and B, they didn't give up.
That sounds pretty good to me, Richard. Well, Richard Reed, Innocent Drinks, thanks very much.
Thank you.